listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN. Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you're all well. My name is Peaks, and you're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast. I'm also joined with
Mr. X. What's good?
And how are you doing today, Mr. X?
I'm good.
That's all right. Okay, lovely. So I hope you guys are all doing well yourselves there. If you're listening for the first time, we are the Black Minds Matters podcast. We are here for the reason of raising the spirits and having a diversity of young voices that are currently not being heard. This is a place to come and share your needs and experiences about what's happening during this pandemic and the lockdown. So we're going to be chatting to people who are students in the creative arts. If you're working, if you're unemployed, if you're a young parent into music or you're entrepreneurial, it doesn't matter. This is your place to come and share your words of wisdom, your experiences and the challenges that's happening. So on today's podcast show, we're going to be joined with Jefferson Iweh. He is a digital skills coach from South London in Carshalton. So are you there, Jefferson?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, how are you today?
I'm doing well, apart from the rain that just changed the entire mood, but I'm well, man. What about yourself?
Yeah, we're all good.
What's good, Jefferson?
Yes, Mr. X. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's always good to hear a friendly voice, basically, and stuff, because Jefferson's one of them kind of guys that, you know what I mean, when you just kind of see him doing his thing, basically, you always kind of put a smile on my face and thing, you know, because I like the work you're doing out there, fam.
Yeah.
Good to hear, man. I like that. I love your work as well.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks.
It's all mutual respect around here. All right, even though you can't see smiling face, he is because it's podcast. But yeah, it's all blessed. So basically, we just want to get a bit of history, a bit of a background about who you are and the work that you do. So if you could tell us about your heritage, kind of where you grew up and what kind of moved you into the area that you're currently working on right before, you know, all the madness kind of hit and we're here now in lockdown in the UK. So if you could take it from there, that'd be lovely. Thanks.
Yeah, that's fine. So my name's Jefferson. So I was born in Nigeria, came to the UK when I was around 3. So I grew up like mostly like when I came to the country, I was in Wolverhampton, but then I came to South London. So I grew up around like Streatham, Brixton, Battersea. And then now I currently reside in Carshalton. So for some people, Carshalton is like, it's a foreign land. Whenever I told them that Carshalton is actually in South London, they think I'm lying, but it's the truth.
Sounds kind of posh, doesn't it?
Yeah. But what moved me into the current field? So at this current moment, I'm a digital skills coach. But before that, I was an accountant. I was an accounts assistant. I was doing retail. So I was doing all these kind of things. But the thing that really stood out to me was accountancy was good because it was consistent and there was a guarantee that you will always have work. But the downside about it, sometimes it was boring. Like you could consistently you'll do the same work day in, day out. And I started to lose interest. And I was like, this is not the aim for me to just get up every day, go to work and then do the same thing day in, day out. But I don't see any real progression or personal development within myself. So then I fell back onto like things that I like to do. So realizing that I like to teach, but I can also explain things quite well to people that may not understand like bigger concepts. So what I did is I found actually a program. It was a 12-month digital employment program where for 12 months they trained you on different things of like how to do like UX, lean methodology, how to use your facilitation skills, how to build websites, all like this tech space that we're using right now. So such as like working from home, using the internet and so forth. I had it like for 12 months where they just fast-tracked us and showed us everything while we were working all at the same time. And then once I finished that program, I was just like, it was done. So everyone was now just left to their own devices. But I found my niche and what I liked to do. So it was to teach people how to use these kind of things, such as that working from home, Zoom calls, Google Hangouts, how to use that social media marketing, the power that is actually at the fingertips. So even if you have a business or you just want to build your personal brand or you just want to know what this whole big fuss about the internet is, it was that's what led me down this path. So that's in a nutshell how I got here and what I'm doing right now.
That sounds exciting.
Sounds a lot.
Especially in this current climate. I mean, that's like you sound like you're well prepared, but we'll get into that. So when you first kind of heard about the kind of lockdown, where were you and Did it have any kind of effect on you? Because you sound like you're kind of built for this type of thing anyway. So yeah, if you can give us a wee bit on that.
So initially, when the lockdown was announced, I was doing self-isolation. Reason why is because obviously the circle of friends and people that are around me, I kept coughing, but obviously at the time, when it's like that at that phase, if I remember correctly, that it was getting hot, then it was getting cold, it was getting hot, it was getting cold, and then that fear factor. So I remember I was coughing, but I knew it wasn't really the symptoms of corona, because we know the symptoms of corona is not that of coughing and stuff, of like such light coughing, because it was light coughing in the beginning. So I did self-isolation. So just to cover myself, I think I was into my third day, then I heard about the lockdown. So I was already at home. So in my head, I was like, okay. So my mind and my thoughts towards it was like, okay, look, because the thing that in preparation for all of this, like the thing that I've always learned, even just through like freelancing and just working for yourself, is that you have to learn how to isolate yourself. So for example, already had prepared like books I was going to potentially read, podcasts, TV series I was going to watch, like what my plans are, like of what projects I wanted to get out, and like what kind of personal goals I wanted to achieve from prior, when I was just going to do the self-isolation. So for me, it wasn't really a big change, but it was just more when you realize it's not just you, it's actually the entire world that is now officially locked down. That's when it kind of shifts the dynamic. Because if it's just you, it's like, okay, that's understandable. It's just your world that's being affected. But when you start realizing now that it's just now the entire world. So if you message people like between 9 to 5 working hours, I was used to people not responding, but now people are responding. Like as soon as you message them at like say 9:30, they're responding to you straight away. And that was the kind of yeah, it was that weird dynamic, because usually I would wait for like, I know like after work around 6, 7, I should get a response back for some people. Some people just responded straight away, and that's what made me realize, okay, this is now the real effect of it.
So since the whole beginning, basically, how have you been able to keep because a lot of people literally are losing their minds just being able to be locked down. So what have you been doing to kind of like make your time a bit more productive, as well as keeping your sanity at the same time, having been self-isolating and also being on lockdown?
Yeah. The thing that I did is straight away set myself a goal of what I wanted to achieve, and to also go through all the unachieved goals, because I knew for myself that first and foremost there was goals that I wanted to achieve, but because of mismanagement of time or just not having enough time to dedicate properly to it, I need to start. I went back to all of those ones, like all the old vision boards, all the old like to-do lists that I set for myself up for the previous years, and I just started to now go through each one of them. Then from how I've been maintaining that is by daily writing down, like, okay, what do I want to achieve today? Setting myself and another thing is also setting myself realistic time to go to sleep and time to wake up. Because the one thing that I know that sometimes will affect is if you say, for example, you're going to bed 3 a.m. to wake up like 9, 10 or 2 in the next afternoon, sometimes that can mess up your sleeping pattern. It can mess up your mind in sense of that there's no like structure to it. So I've been setting myself like decent times at before 12, and then setting myself to wake up like for certain times at sometimes 5, 6. Reason why is just to keep that discipline in my mind. And then also reading books, speaking to people as well, reaching out to people, because I realize that sometimes, even when you self-isolate, sometimes if you self-isolate and take it too far, in the sense of like you do proper isolation, when you don't talk to anyone, you just keep yourself to yourself, sometimes it has a harder detrimental effect to you. So instead I've been like reaching out to people that I haven't spoken to in a while, just seeing how they are, seeing how they've been coping as well, just that, so that way we can glean some sort of sharing effect. So if they've said, oh, I'm working on my website, I could say, okay, how can I help you? So like giving off my time as well, like giving if they need any advice, or if they could give me any advice on anything I could be doing as well. So that's how I've been just keeping myself organized, but also keeping my mind as well.
Same. The other thing as well that that I've been finding out as well is obviously the financial burden that's going to be placed on a lot of people when they come out of this lockdown, because a lot of people haven't been able to work and stuff. Yeah. Have you been able to work in respect to keeping your finances kind of like coming in, or are you not making any money at all? And I don't want to know what your financial situation is. It's simply, are you able to keep things moving still, or are you one of the ones that were literally waiting for this lockdown to stop so you can continue making money?
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm the latter, so I'm waiting for the lockdown to finish, so I can start to make the money. Because it basically before the lockdown started, I had a good amount of projects lined up, but because of it, all of them got cancelled.
Or a
All
bit
of them
dried up
got.
in that. That is a
Yeah,
lot with we're all in the
yeah,
same boat, fam. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So my question to you is basically is that do you think that when this lockdown finishes, it may be the beginning of more problems? Because obviously now we're gonna have to like deal with all these finances that we're all kind of like because a few of us are in debt now.
Oh no, I'm not gonna lie. 100% agreeing with you on that. Because don't forget, it's like there's no money coming in, but money is still going out in sense of food. Because I
Definitely.
know one thing is that don't forget travels now probably your travel costs have gone down, like they've been cut hard, like your travel costs have gone down a lot. But now the only thing is now your most expensive thing probably right now is just probably your food expenditure.
Same.
Like because remember there's certain utility companies, if you call them and say, look, okay, because of this coronavirus, they'll freeze your account. So that way, so certain bills can be like withheld. I'm hearing also that banks are now doing zero interest, so you won't get charged for if you go into overdraft. But like you're saying, I'm not gonna lie, I do foresee that there's gonna be problems in sense of people's debt management. Because don't forget, there's some people who've never had to deal with debt in their life, and
Same.
there's now some people who've now putting on more debt because of the coronavirus, because they haven't had they don't have income to actually manage it. So now it's going to be at the end of what's really good for me personally. I'm not saying it's something from like reading lots of information, but just from simple observation on my part is I think it's going to either put a lot of worrying to a lot of people because, like you were saying earlier about regards to people's mental health, a lot of people are now going to be worried because finance is one of the biggest problems in some people's minds because they're not sure what to do. So I think definitely after this lockdown, it's going to bring a problem. It's going to bring a lot of problems because some people are not going to be going back to work. Some people have never been in a situation where they've been jobless. So now finding a new job all over again is now going to become more difficult. Businesses are now going to change completely because some businesses are going to start realizing that working from home, remote working can actually save you more costs than me actually telling you to come to the office every day. I can just get you to do it in the comfort of your home. So some job roles may not even exist after this lockdown. So it's going to be I'm not gonna lie, it's going to be a very tough situation for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, talking about that, which is really good actually that you've got experience with it because you first of all told us about your story. You started off in finance, so
Mhm.
with a lot of students, maybe parents or people who are not used to budgeting, like, do you have like a couple of tips that would or any kind of schemes that you've come across where people, as you mentioned as well, you can freeze your energy bills and things like that as well, that you can
Yeah.
advise people right now that would be helpful?
One thing I would definitely say is join business hubs. Reason why I say join business hubs is because sometimes in these business communities, so it could be like you could try like Enterprise Nation or if I remember rightly, I think there's one year called YSYS. These kind of like what's called groups of people that are doing business. Reason why I say that is because at the end of the day, we have to look at it from a perspective. Energy companies, utility companies, all of these kind of companies are businesses. But if you can understand, just understand how the world works, you can start to understand that you have rights. So I would say definitely understand your business information, just understand that, but also check your bills in sense of check your expenditure. What are you spending money on? What aren't you spending money? So you can start to budget. And how can you save money? Because another opportunity that I've seen about this is also another opportunity to start doing some spring cleaning. You can start spring cleaning, get rid of clothes or get rid of pieces of technology to get rid of because there's someone that I know. He openly admitted it to me that he's making a killing off eBay because people are just willing to now buy. People are now, even though people still have money, so people are still willing to buy during this time. So he's sold his like PlayStation 4. He's been selling like games, different products just to keep people entertained or people are willing to pay their cash for it. So what I'll say is definitely do a spring clean, but also see where your expenses are. Speak to business hubs, that being like in the loop of understanding business hubs, but also don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go challenge these companies as well. If you feel like if you feel pressured or they may give you like a very see or what's it called non-emotional response, don't be afraid of the non-emotional response. Just keep pushing through and until you see like honestly you can see what until you get to the results that you want, and then think of different ways of how you can make money. Don't forget money at the end of the day, it's not money is money is something that we can all generate. We can all generate. Money still exists at this moment in time. You could still do things. You can do YouTube tutorials. You can do Zoom calls. You can do different things. You can sell your skills. Find out what you're good at. You can even write blogs. Something. There is money out there. Just figure out what your skill set is, and then you can start to generate from there.
Yeah, I think people are going to have to start getting really creative, aren't they?
That's some good advice, fam. Going back to what you're saying about, you said actually just at the end of what you was talking about there, there's still money. And you say that in a way that we're all thinking, is money still going to be there in the future and stuff? And seeing as you're going deep now in this whole tech and online thing, basically, what do you think what would the future like if there's no cash? I mean, what do you foresee the future if there is a future with no cash? How would that look like?
So a future with no cash, we are becoming a cashless society as time goes on. So a world without future just transfers, like bank transfers, things like Bitcoin, these like digital currencies and stuff like that. Because if I remember rightly, Facebook has built their digital currency as well. It didn't go as successful as they wanted it to be, but they've got the technology to build it. So I wouldn't doubt that things like Amazon, Microsoft, Google wouldn't have their digital currency, because I think Google owns a bank. I think Google does own a bank, but they haven't done anything with it. So yeah, but I think it'll just be a cashless society. It'll be. I think in sense of that, to the human mind, it'd be very convenient. But to some people that understand how technology and how things probably work, or have seen like the transition from going from a purely cash society to a cashless society, some people may be a bit like adverse to it because they wouldn't really trust where's my money going from. I see my money in my account, but now it's just it's not disappeared, but it's just now being transferred to somewhere else.
Same.
So I think the older generation will obviously have that wisdom, the more mature mindset to understand, okay, where's my money going? But then the younger generation will just jump on board and say, okay, I don't mind. I've grown up using this, so I don't really see the problem.
What's the most alarming thing about this whole scenario in the world that you've come across since this whole coronavirus has hit the world? What's the most alarming thing in regards to changes, in regards to policy, government, kind of like guidelines and stuff like that? Is there anything that you see that's disturbing, that's kind of like showing us the way how things are going to be, or are you quite just chilled with what you see?
My concern is, one of the most shocking and concerning things I've seen so far is you could see people's mental health starting to deteriorate right in front of them.
Same.
And that's, I think, for me, the government policies, okay, 2 meters distances, there's other policies where they create funding and so forth. Okay, that's just to help the economy. But at the end of the day, the economy is still generated by people. So if people's mentality is now deteriorating as time goes on, then there's an issue. There's a very big issue, because if you spend your money recklessly, or if you don't know where you're spending your money, or if your mind is not fixed or is not healthy in sense of where it needs to be, it becomes very dangerous, because you like, for example, we were talking earlier about money management. Imagine now you suffer from extreme anxiety. You may not understand, or you may be pressured into situations that may make you spend your money in an undue process in a way that maybe will now cause a much bigger anxiety to happen to you. And even like the pressures from different fields or different factors could even push your mental health to be even further. So my main concern is actually people's mental health, even domestic violence. That's another thing I've seen that's an issue as well, because you don't forget, if people are in an abusive home, they have nowhere else to run to now. They're actually at home with the abuser.
I mean, you work with a lot of young people. You did like workshops and various other initiatives and things like that. So you could tell us a bit about the youth work that you've done. You've also attended Blackmindsmatter's conferences and participated with that. So if you could give us a little bit of history on that, and maybe some of the tips as well that you could give these young people who may be suffering anxieties or abuse or anything like that you can maybe offer them.
Definitely. So, my youth work, like most people who get into youth work, it just came from a desire to make a change within my area. So, obviously, I worked within my local area, within my local borough, which was Sutton. We done like a lot of youth work, but obviously, I think at the time, then we got government cuts where the government started to cut a lot of councils' funding for young people. So that just dried up. So my area became became something else. So I had to now go, and what I mean by something else, it just became, you could tell it never became more focused on youth. It became more focused on the funding I got distributed to other things that potentially are not really alleviating the problem. So then I moved back my youth work back into within areas that I would be in, such as Wandsworth. And then from doing work within Wandsworth, I met some of the people that were running Blackmindsmatter. Now, with the whole project with Blackmindsmatter, it was really good because I could see it was now being designed to help. It was with young people in the center, and not young people are doing a Q&A or a survey over there and they just take the information and just regurgitate it to them. It was actually having young people in the midst of it. So now doing all of that, I really saw the benefit of it. But just going back to your question, is just in regards to what tips I could definitely give to young people is this. I'm not gonna lie, this is your 6 weeks holiday right in front of you. Summer holidays are here. Yeah, your summer holidays are right here. Instead of it being sense of you're at home, I know you can't go out and see all your friends all the time, but you can now build. You can plan what your goals are, what your aspirations are. Because the thing is that many people say that I've even seen a lot of young people either don't believe in themselves and they don't have goals. So what you can do is now start to work on yourself. So you may be thinking, how do I work on myself? What do I listen to motivational videos? Not all the time. Sometimes motivational videos, they will motivate you at that moment. But then when it's time to make an actual life decision, you don't know what to do. So it's more of understanding yourself. Get to know yourself. What do you like? What don't you like? What are your triggers? What are the things that help you? What are the things that make you smile? What are the things that you don't like? Things like this, that get to know yourself. Find out your issues so that way you can start to know where to go. Because if you don't have any issues, which is impossible because every human being has an issue, regardless if you're the most richest or most influential person on the planet, you have an issue somewhere. But find those and then start creating out plans of where you want to go. Because don't forget, I think I will never forget when someone showed me this. You need to know where you came from, you need to know where you are now, and you need to know where you're going. If you don't know the first two, you will never know where you're going. You may plan, but you will never know where you're going because you will never know if you have that internal grit or you have that internal drive to actually get to where you want to go. So case in point, if you want to become a musician, is music really your thing, or you're just seeing people around you talk about music and you say, you don't know what, let me do it? You have to understand, is music really your passion? Do you actually care about the sounds? Do you understand how to write a bar? Do you know how to construct a song? Do you know how to do these things? And then can you actually tell a story properly? Or you're just going to jump on the track, say whatever you want, and then because the producer and the sound engineer just wants to make money, be like, yeah, you go hard, but is this really what you want? So find out what you actually like, and then go from there. Reach out to there's a lot of youth services out there. So Prince's Trust, Blackmindsmatter is one of them. I'll definitely say there's the VYG, the Victory Youth Group. There's a lot of services out there. Just type in youth services, and now because of this lockdown, they're doing a lot of free stuff as well. So you can speak to someone, email someone, call them, and so forth.
See, Jefferson, I'm coming to your next workshop. You've got me all hyped up on that. Jefferson for president. All right, so there's so much good tips in there. Thank you so much for that. And I mean, in terms of Mr. X has got another question.
Yeah, one last question, bro, before you go. Has your perspective changed now since the beginning of the lockdown and the coronavirus taking the world by the throat, so to speak, basically? What's your perspective now? Is it the same, or have you changed the way you think about how things are now?
Honestly, my perspective hasn't really changed in the sense of it's changed. There's principles haven't really changed. It's more of it's just constantly it's just now being a daily reminder that time is very short in the sense of your life. Time is very short because case in point, like I was saying earlier, the suicides and the abuse have gone up, but also the people that have actually been killed by coronavirus. It shows that it doesn't matter about your age, your class, or your nationality. It's the reality of it is life is short. So if I've got any if I've got any issues or any frictions with anyone, it's just best to bury the hatchet, squash the beef, or whatever it is, or whatever term you want to use, because I understand that life is short. No one is impervious to corona. This is the one thing I learned from I've seen so far is no one is impervious. No one is impervious. But one thing is you can value the moments you have. Value the moments you have. Value the moments with your friends, with your family. Value the moments even with yourself. Just times that When was the last time you just spent time just enjoying your own company? Things like this. One thing this Corona has definitely shown me is just value people, value yourself, and value your time.
Well said, bro.
Very well said.
Well said, girl. Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank you.
Yes, that's it. So is there anywhere that you, people can hear more about what it is that you're doing or be involved with?
Social media tags, websites.
Yeah. So my websites and my social media stuff is coming soon. So basically, best thing is just probably follow me on Instagram, because Insta has everything, and it's the quickest way just to get to me so I can respond. So some Jefferson, so it's JEFFERSON_IWEH. Just type that into Instagram. You should see me with like a waistcoat and a smart shirt. You know it's me. Yeah.
We'll put it in the bottom of the comments as well. So I can have a link as well.
So thank you so much. Keep safe, keep well, and keep that mind motivated.
Keep things moving, bro.
We're all come and run to you after this for all your tips and stuff. All right, thanks, Jefferson.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right, take care, Rama. All right, speak soon.
Bye. So that was Jefferson Iweh, full of advice, full of inspiration, and definitely full of lifting the spirit there. So definitely go and check him out. If you have any messages, feedback, tips, or experiences that you want to leave, please drop it down in the comments below. You can also email us at info@blackmindsmatter.co.uk. Also, please go and check out the website where you can sign up to the newsletter, get more tips into your inbox. Check out some videos and things that's on there too on www.blackmindsmatter.co.uk. If you want to find out the latest that's happening with the government and healthcare guidelines for the most up-to-date resources, then please check out www.gov.uk or check out www.wandsworth.gov.uk. Be safe, be blessed. If you found this helpful, then please share it with somebody else. Thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next podcast show. Take care of yourselves.
Peace.
You're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN.